Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another basketball reaction video, and this one is how NBA players got their nickname. I've done a relatively similar video to my knowledge of this in the past, but I think it was just on like 6 players, and I'm not too sure how many this is going to be focused on, if there's going to be loads of just random players on here or what. But this is something that does intrigue me because I feel like every player has a nickname, or every top player has a nickname for certain reasons, and I'm guessing we'll find out the reasons in this video. But yeah, I just find these sort of these informational type videos just quite interesting at how they sort of explain certain things, basically. But yeah, this was suggested recently, and I saw it and I liked the suggestion. So yeah, I'm gonna do this. If you're interested in more of this sort of stuff, let me know like what other things you'd like to see, and leave a like if you do enjoy. But yeah, let's just check this out and see what it's got. I've made a second channel. I do say this a lot, but I'm just posting a lot now. I'm probably posting more on there than in this channel at the moment. I'm just posting a lot more random stuff, just random basketball videos, a lot of game reactions, a lot of baseball stuff, just anything really, just lots of just random videos. So yeah, that's in the description. I'm also going to stream tonight the Lakers versus the Rockets, so if you are interested in that, links in the description. This is going to be posted I think an hour before I start streaming, so yeah, you can follow there and then you can watch my stream if you're interested. But yeah, let's check this out and see what and why players have got the
Names
nicknames.
are out of your control, and these NBA players earn their nicknames for better or worse. While nicknames are usually just a name given to players to describe their game and nothing more, Kobe Bryant decided to choose a nickname that would mean more than what most would think. In his auto-documentary Muse, that was released in 2015, Kobe talked about why he gave himself the nickname Black Mamba. With all the struggles Kobe faced off the court, he felt it'd be best for his emotions if he created an alter ego like Black Mamba, whose sole responsibility was to handle business on the court. While Mamba handled his court affairs, Kobe Bryant, the individual, was tasked with handling his personal life. Kobe would explain his decision saying, "It was just everyone. I'm destroying everybody that steps on the court. I had all this pent up frustration and I needed to let it out. It was an avalanche, man. There's nothing that was going to get in my way. There's nothing that was going to stop me. I had to separate myself. I felt like there was so many things coming at once. It was just becoming very, very confusing. I had to organize things. So I created the Black Mamba." Kobe also said, "The name Kobe Bryant just evokes such a negative emotion. I said, if I create this alter ego, so now when I play, that's what's coming out of your mouth. Separates the personal stuff, right? You're not watching David Banner, you're watching the Hulk." In a 2015 interview with Ahmed Rashad, Bryant said of the animal that inspired the name, "When I step on the court, I become that. I am that killer snake. I'm stone cold, man." With all the talent that Paul Pierce has put on display throughout his days in the
I've seen that before. I remember hearing that in a past video, but it just makes me sad. Oh my god, it's one of those things that I still can't believe it's happened, man. Especially like seeing him talk about himself, man. But yeah, let's check the rest of this.
the NBA, it was only fitting he'd earned the right to a nickname. However, it's the question of when exactly did he earn his title of the Truth. The nickname came about during a very turbulent time for Pierce. In 2001, Pierce had been in his 3rd year in the league, looking to leave his mark on what was considered a bad Boston team. Making the task even harder was the fact that he'd been recovering from a near-fatal stabbing that left him with 11 holes in his neck and body. During the same NBA season, Pierce had played a regular season game against Shaq and the Lakers in 2001. Pierce let off an absolute barrage of shots, making the majority of them, and ultimately finishing the game with an impressive 42 points. Shaq had been so impressed by Pierce's performance and the off-court drama that followed after the game, he told reporters that Pierce was the truth. Shaq talked about the story later on in his career saying, "I noticed he just wasn't like everybody else. He was just hard to guard. I was like, man, this dude's the truth." So after the game, I pulled aside Celtics beat writer Steve Bulpett of the Boston Herald. I looked him in the eyes and I pointed to his pad and I said, "Take this down. My name is Shaquille O'Neal and Paul Pierce is the truth. Quote me on that. And don't take nothing out. I knew he could play, but I didn't know he could play like this. Paul Pierce is the truth." Considering LeBron James is easily one of the most dominant forces in the NBA, it's no wonder that he earned the nickname King James. However, what's most impressive about the title was the fact that it was bestowed upon him when he was still in high school. Contrary to popular belief, the title itself was not something that he came up with on his own, but rather the hype that surrounded him while playing at St. Vincent St. Mary. King James already coming into the league with such a presumptuous title, many thought he'd likely be humbled a bit when he came into the league. But history has shown us the opposite. James has dominated the NBA as one of, if not the league's greatest player in almost every regard. As a passer, he's led the NBA. As a scorer, we've seen time and time again, James can drop 40 like it's nothing. And finally, perhaps his most unique attribute is his physique. Despite receiving the title in high school, LeBron has led as a ruler for over a decade. He's yet to show any signs of weakness, at least with regards to his personal statistics. And if you're still not convinced, here's a quote from an NBA scout who reported on LeBron when he was 17 years old. The reporter said, "The hype is pretty justified. Looking at the way Yao Ming's playing, I don't know if LeBron would have gone first in the draft last year, but he's a 6'8" guy who can play point guard. He's a man amongst boys, a superstar in the making. I hear people say shooting is his weak spot. It's his weaker spot."
Is that true? People consider that his weak spot. I didn't really know that about like what I knew he was like certain things that he was good at, but I didn't know in terms of like the sort of general sort of perspective of what his abilities are. I didn't realize shooting was seen as a weaker part of his game. Just goes to show just how good he is. That's mental.
He's probably an average shooter, but if you look at Michael Jordan when he came into the league, he was a very average shooter. Kobe was probably an average shooter too as a rookie. LeBron's got good enough technique that I wouldn't worry about it. Similar to LeBron, Magic Johnson received his nickname long before playing in the NBA. Having played a dominant game while still in high school, Johnson was given the nickname by his coach. After helping lead his team from one that was known for constantly losing to consistently winning games, Johnson talked about the story saying, "I started off in high school after I won every championship, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade. I won them all. So now I'm headed to high school. I wasn't known for basketball. They'd come in last place for the last 7 or 8 years. I had to figure out how I was going to turn this from losing into winning." This guy walks in and says, "Man, that was an awesome game. I got to give you a nickname." Somebody's already called Dr. J and Big E was already taken. Because those 2 nicknames are already taken, he said, "I'm going to call you Magic." At 15,
I love that, man. I love how they can get these nicknames from young ages and they carry it through their whole career and it sticks with them. Like, they're remembered as like Magic Johnson and like King James, and they'll be given to them from young, and it's refreshing to see that they can have these names from young and it just sticks with them, man. I love it.
It's not really gonna stick, right? You fools. The next day in the paper, it says Irving Magic Johnson leads ever at high school. Not only had the nickname stuck to Johnson at the age of 15, practically erased his first name, which most people don't even know. Despite being known for his clutch plays, pale skin, or even great passing ability, Larry Bird's nickname came as a result from his past. Having grown up in a dead-end town of French Lick, Indiana, Larry Bird's hometown can be described as a poor, white trash town that gave little opportunity for his residents. We've come to know that Bird was able to break out of his town's tight grip on its inhabitants through his ability with basketball. However, he was never able to shake his past, nor did he want to. He represented his hometown of French Lick on his sleeve, and he took it from a place of pride to have defeated the odds and make it to the NBA. When he started to make a name for himself in the league, he was eventually given the name The Hick from French Lick. The nickname was an obvious diss to not only his background but his hometown, but it didn't matter to Bird, who gladly accepted it. Even before that nickname had been given to Bird, he was given a different one by Coach Bill Fitch, which was Kodak. The name was given to him his rookie season, as Bird was known to call the shots ahead of time. His shot calling had come with so much accuracy that his coach equated Bird's predictions to him being able to take a mental picture of the future. As a talented scorer and ball handler, Allen Iverson's nickname has been more of a prophecy than it has been a title. His nickname had been given to him by his mentor and father figure, Jamil Blackman, who had effectively assumed the role as Iverson's parental figure. Blackman allowed Iverson to stay at his house when issues in his personal life made it difficult to stay at home. He supported him financially and even helped Iverson get academic help to get him into college. In 1994, when Iverson's dream of getting into Georgetown University on a basketball scholarship had finally panned out, Blackman figured it was time to give him a name. The name was eventually decided to be The Answer. The name referred to Iverson as becoming the answer to all of the troubles any NBA team would be experiencing. After the name had been established, Blackman had Iverson promise that he would get 25% of any money that Iverson got as a result of the nickname. Iverson agreed, but would later come to regret it. Shortly after leaving college early to get drafted into the NBA, Iverson was approached with a lucrative deal by Reebok, who had taken an interest in not only Iverson, but his nickname. The Answer had been such a catching name that Reebok wanted to use it for the signature shoe line, and Blackman never ended up receiving his 25%. He ended up filing a lawsuit against his son. The case was eventually dropped, but had he won, it likely would have been the first time an NBA player had to pay for rights to use his nickname.
That's crazy.
Being known for his three-point ability in real life, Ray Allen earned a nickname after playing a movie role. During his first season with the Bucks, Allen had earned the respect of Knicks diehard fan Spike Lee after he put his skills on display in a game against the Knicks. His performance had been so impressive that Spike Lee approached Allen and asked him if he wanted to audition for a movie that he was working on with Denzel Washington. Allen took his information but thought little of the offer until the Bucks failed to make the playoffs that season. With some extra time during the offseason, Allen auditioned for the role as the movie's main character, Jesus Shuttleworth. Despite competing against Allen Iverson and even Tracy McGrady for the role, beat Allen that came out on top. The movie went on to be a box office bust, but was enjoyed by critics and fans alike, who all praised Allen's acting talents. His role had become so well known that by the time he'd finished working on the role to return to the NBA, fans and teammates began to call him Jesus Shuttleworth. As one of the few NBA stars whose nickname had overtaken his real name, Julius Erving got his PhD while playing high school basketball.
That's such a sick name,
throughout his time in the ABA, throughout his days in the NBA, and now that
Dr. J just seems like a sort of like, just like someone who's just an elite sort of baller. Just doctor, having doctor in front of your name, it just makes you seem like you're just up there, man, like top tier. And it's just, I mean, doctor's a reference to what I think it's for, like, it's either scientists or people who are just held in really high regard. And I mean, there we go, Dr. J.
Time in the ABA, throughout his days in the NBA, and now that he's retired, people still call him Dr. J. He talked about the nickname coming about saying, "When I got to the Rucker League in New York City, I was already 21. It was my junior year of college, and I was going to play on the stage before my first pro season. They started calling me all kinds of names because of the antics on the court. And I went over and corrected them and said, look, if you're going to call me anything, just call me the doctor. Because my best friend in high school would give me the name the Doctor, and I'd given him the name the Professor. We graduated high school together, went to college together, and shared those nicknames. He said I had a lot of moves, more moves than Carter had liver pills. As one of the league's premier big men, Karl Malone received his nickname the Mailman during his time at Louisiana Tech. Like many destined NBA players, Malone had been a force to be reckoned with during his college days. As one of the bigger players in NCAA, Malone tended to always deliver on his promise when it came to out-rebounding and outscoring his opponents. The name carried on to his time with the Utah Jazz when he played alongside John Stockton, where his name arguably became more true than his college days. You can't have a list of NBA nicknames without paying homage to easily the most recognizable NBA nickname of all time. Yeah. Michael Jordan's name is without a doubt one that is etched into the memory of every basketball fan, no matter where they're from. However, his nickname Air Jordan?
Not just basketball fans, man. Trust me, before I got into basketball, that was a nickname and obviously a name that I knew of very fondly.
Has since grown from his days in the NBA. Stating the obvious, Jordan received the apt nickname for his leaping ability, and how it almost seemed at times that Jordan was defying all published laws of gravity. Later on in his career, Air Jordan evolved into becoming the flagship for a brand of Nike shoes, easily compete with any big name shoe of its kind. Not only did the nickname have a catchy sound to it, it even came with an unforgettable logo of Jordan leaping into one of his signature dunks. It's likely the marketing executives of Nike took the day off when it came down to coming up with a marketable shoe brand, considering Jordan had the name long before. His first name coming into the league in the mid-80s had been Captain Marvel, as a nod to Jordan's ability to dominate games at such a young age. Jordan had apparently despised the name, since during that time, he was still being outplayed by Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Jordan talked about his early nickname saying, "It just didn't seem right, because Captain sounded like I'm at the top of the league. And I considered myself at the bottom at that time. I'm walking into the arena playing Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and you call out Captain Marvel, which means you're putting a big dot on my back." So I said, no, you need to come back with something else.
I love his mentality, man. I love his mentality so much. White chocolate, I'm intrigued to see this one.
Know that he's often forgotten when we're talking about the league's greatest passers. There is one argument, and it's the legacy that he left behind with his nickname. Known as White Chocolate, Jason's nickname is arguably more popular than he is. The nickname took place as soon as Jason got his start with the Sacramento Kings during the 1998-1999 season. Having already been known to his team for his passes and flashiness, Stephanie Shepard, who would work with the franchise's PR department, decided to give the rookie an early nickname. She went on to come up with White Chocolate, and she talked about coming up with the name saying, "I came up with that name because of his style. He had flash and pizzazz. The way he does things with the ball is incredible to me. It reminds me of like schoolyard street ball when I go to Chicago." The name stuck and proved to be a nickname that'll likely outlive the person. Jason talked about his thoughts on the name saying, "I think somebody in Sacramento..."
Wait, he was bald in the NBA, now he's got hair. Wait, what?
The PR department gave it to me. It doesn't bother me at all. Look at the game. Once you go in between the lines, all the white, black, that's all out the door. If you can hoop, you can hoop. Hey, yo, dog. I'm gonna need you to click on this video.
No matter what your race is, if you've got ability, you got ability, and you're gonna be respected. And he was a special player. He was different, but some of his passes, he was one of my favorite ever reaction videos, without a doubt. Some of the things he did, also like the clips I've seen of him, are genuinely mind blowing. But yeah, this was an intriguing video. I do like these just sort of random videos that sort of explain certain players' nicknames or just certain players' reasonings behind certain things, basically. Also, AK-47's simple book called "Did Kobe Say David Banner instead of Bruce Banner?" Forgot Henry Jr. Yeah, he's probably missed a few, hasn't he? Why is Paul Pierce's nickname the truth when he lied about pooping his pants? Wait, what? Don't say that actually happened. You forgot one number. The mailman always delivers, but they don't deliver Sundays. We've got George Gervin, the Iceman. That's a cold name. There's a soccer player with the name that the Iceman is his nickname. It's just a cool name, isn't it? Just call him the ball. You just compose, isn't it? It's one of those names that I really like. That's a cool nickname. I do rate that. You've got Zaza Pachulia, the ankle breaker. I think that's a troll, isn't it? From my knowledge, Zaza Pachulia is a meme, and I think I got trolled by him in the past by the comments. I think that's just a meme, right? You've got Dominic Wilkins, the Human Highlights film. What about Dennis Rodman, the Worm? I'm really intrigued by Dennis Rodman. Something about him is really interesting, man. I've been looking into him in my own time for the last few... I just watched things about him, and in the last few months, I've just got like really into him for some reason in my own time. He's just a special player. But that's for another day anyway. But maybe I will do a Dennis Rodman reaction, because there's still a lot more videos that I want to see of him. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want more things like this, let me know in the comments what kind of videos you'd like to see. But yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, peace.